Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things Invest. Talk about investing, finance, professional development. For today's video terms only. The investment I'm going to talk about today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. So it's my second video that I'm posting again today, and as I'm recording this at 4:45 p.m. on the Eastern time, current trading like the $2,277, down about 1.79% so far. In respect to my depictions on the technical analysis that I performed earlier today, with respect to my foreshadow, we were definitely overbought, right? And I've been telling you guys that with respect to the MACD and the RSI, we were overbought and we were pretty much stretched up in all technical analysis perspective, right? So it seems like the balloon popped at the range of around like $2,432, which was the two-day all-time high, right? And it seems like we're leaping down to, kind of breach the 2,350, which is frankly, a consolidation level we've tested in the past, but it's not a very substantive one. And secondly, breach down to the 2,250, which is the level of more consolidated level, right? Which is the two-day low, which makes sense, right? So I'm gonna go to the technical analysis again to see, with respect to the buying pressure that we've experienced the last 4 days so far, are we gonna see more of a selling pressure for the next 4 days coming up? So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Alright, so moving on to technical analysis for Ethereum ticker ETH, I'm recording stuff like 4:47 p.m. on Eastern time, current trading like the $2,279 level, down about 1.73% so far. You can see that across the whole crypto market, we're experiencing some sell-off because of the consecutive 4-day surge that we've been experiencing so far. So today was really just relatively more of a balloon pop and people taking profit because of the fact that the MACD and the RSI has been overstretched, overbought on all levels, right? Not just for Ethereum, but for Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Cardano as well. And I would say the altcoins are a little bit more severe in comparisons to Bitcoin in a technical perspective, right? And you can see the escalator curve that we've been forming for the last 4 days so far. As my depiction that I talked about in the technical analysis earlier this morning, whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast, right? So with respect to current level of 2,275, we are basically hovering between the 2,350 and the $2,250 level, in between the two levels, right? But because of the buying pressure that we've experienced so far, and with respect to the overbought level that we're at right now, I do see some of a selling pressure to potentially hit back down to more of a consolidated level of about, of like 2,150, which again is a comfort level, right, that we've tested prior, right? And if we go back to the $2,150 again, this will be our test for 26 times based on historical taps so far, right? And I'll count it specifically, right? So I would suggest, again, like I mentioned the technical analysis already, that it might be wise to put some, buy some put options into the dynamics of Ethereum specifically, and I might want to hold off, or you might want to hold off on buying Ethereum, knowing the fact that the FOMC meeting is expected to happen tomorrow to 28th, right? So 27, 28th are the 2 days, and I think the meeting's actually gonna happen in durations of 2 days specifically. So with respect to how the media is gonna spin the story, or how is the Fed's going to talk about inflationary pressure or quantitative tightening, tapering, or anything like that, we will definitely see some selling pressure across both the crypto market but also the equity market at the same time, not just specifically for crypto, right? Because, based on the conceptual level, right, whenever US dollar appreciates because of monetary tightening, right, you pull back all the dollars from being printed, then you cut off the supply, in circulations for US dollars. So when there's less circulations or less supply of US dollars, obviously the value across the spectrum for US dollar will appreciate, right? That's just basic logics, right? So when that happens, people will tend to like hold their cash in their bank account or hold their cash in a wallet, right? Because US dollar is appreciating. Why would you invest in anything else, right? When your dollar is appreciating by itself, right? And that will subsequently drive some selling pressure across the board, right? Another factor would be because of corporations, right? When you have cutoff of monetary circulations, they will need to look for alternative solutions, like either leveraging their balance sheets or incurring debts, basically, right, to sustain their corporate operations, right? And that could subsequently hinder the margins and the based on just interest expense that they have to pay for the debt they incur, right? Just basic like business operational cadence, right? So that could subsequently drive some selling pressure, and if we get there, we could potentially breach the 2,150 and leap all the way back down to the 2,000, which is a very consolidated level, right? I think based on the fact that the way that we're trending right now, I think that's very likely to hit at least the 2,150, and then maybe even get down to $2,050, which is the consolidated level, right? Do we see anywhere around like 1850 or 1750? I think not, because like with respect to our side, we are oversold, but we're not like crazy over not oversold. We're not crazy overbought at the moment, right? We're leaning more towards the overbought level, but we're not extremely not like completely forming an outlier, right? I think we are definitely showing some bullish pressure, but with respect to the correction, I think it's gonna be moderate, because of the fact that the RSI is not like crazy stretched up. So I see 2050 coming, 2150 very likely. I'll give that 75% likelihood that we'll get there. And if you were to dollar cost average, I think 2150 would be more of a logical level to the dollar cost average. I would not advise buying it now. But if you want to buy it now, right, that's totally fair. Again, it's fair game if you want to hold this for the next 3 to 5 years, knowing the fact that the corporate adoption is just gonna further increases going forward. So that's just basic common sense, right? That whenever you are depleting the supply while you increasing more demand, as obviously a lot of banks and financial institutions obviously putting this on the stamp of approval, you're gonna further adopt, and you're gonna basically take away the supply that's being circulated, and then subsequently the price for Ethereum will in synchronization to go up from there, right? So that's how I'm going to be playing going forward. Risk is definitely kind of deflating right now, which is a good sign, because you don't want to be buying and chasing the pump. And with respect to media affectation, it was a coincident type of incidents that have been happening the last 4 days, right? And I think we're just trying to pump it away. And then when tomorrow is going to be a balloon pop on FOMC meeting, and then we should be recuperating back up ahead of the London fork on August 4th coming up. So that's how we're going to be playing in the forecast perspective going forward. Alright, just to recap all the numbers and technical analysis, again, right, the 2150 is a more of a comfort level that we've been kind of, laying on our bed for. And I think that's a level that we should ideally dollar cost average at. I would never chase the pump. Again, chasing the pump is an emotional feeling. It's an emotional affectation to your execution. And again, we don't ever use emotions when you're investing or applying logics, right? So I think 2150 will be more of a logical level, and for us to actually get there by the FOMC meeting, just based on historical trends so far, the last 3 consecutive FOMC meetings has always been negative because of the keywords inflationary pressure, right? So if we hear something comparable to that, or any foreshadow around that type of adjective, definitely get there. And with respect to 2050, we could potentially get there if it's really, really bad, right? And they talk about that they're gonna, further increase the pressure for inflation, and we're gonna actually it's gonna incur actually earlier than expected. Then we'll definitely drive a lot of fear mongering, and that will subsequently made it even worse. To test potentially even 1950 or. And I think that will be it. Based on just how the chart is set up right now, I don't see 1750 anytime soon. Because like whatever goes up really, really fast comes down fast, but it's not gonna be that drastic that is forming such a crazy supply and demand outliers in that way, right? But respect for long-term corporate adoption, 20%, 9,800, 4.6 times your money if you buy 2,150. Alright, so that's it for there. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum Ticket ETH again. It's my second time. So really appreciate you guys for dropping by again and being such diligent investors. Definitely going to be a volatile couple of days. And this sell-off is nothing to be worried about. This is something that's very logical, and this is something that we've talked about, repeatedly so far, right? We read the charts, we use logic to apply our executions. We never mad or emotional about investing, right? Because that's not logical at all. You never hear me being pissed off or super happy about anything, right? Not about anything, about investing specifically. I'm not a robot. But this is just something that is logical, what is happening right now, based on pure supply and demand dynamics, right? So hopefully this is helpful and gives you that clear picture, that clarity, the structure that you're looking for. So stay tuned for the next video coming up. Take care. Bye.